Hello, NCC. Today we get to dive into our topic of reliance on Jesus. And I'm excited to share with you about reliance on Jesus through grief. There's a significant story in John chapter 11, you've probably heard of it, where Jesus deals with grief in a first-hand way. See, Jesus had some friends called Mary, Martha, and Lazarus, and they were siblings. And Lazarus became sick and ended up actually dying. Jesus went to go see his family a few days after he died. Let's read this story in John 11:17 through 35. On his arrival, Jesus found that Lazarus had already been in the tomb for 4 days. Now, Bethany was less than 2 miles from Jerusalem, and many Jews had come to Martha and Mary to comfort them in the loss of their brother. When Martha heard that Jesus was coming, she went out to meet him, but Mary stayed at home. "Lord," Martha said to Jesus, "if you had been here, my brother would not have died. But I know that even now God will give you whatever you ask." Jesus said to her, "Your brother will rise again." And Martha answered, "I know he will rise again in the resurrection at the last day." Jesus said to her, "I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me will live even though they die, and whoever lives by believing in me will never die. Do you believe this?" "Yes, Lord," she replied. "I believe that you are the Messiah, the Son of God, who is come into the world." And after she said this, she went back and called her sister Mary aside. "The teacher is here," she said, "and is asking for you." When Mary heard this, she got up quickly and went to him. Now Jesus had not yet entered the village, but was still at the place where Martha had met him. When the Jews who had been with Mary in the house comforting her noticed how quickly she got up and went out, they followed her, supposing she was going to the tomb to mourn there. And when Mary reached the place where Jesus was and saw him, she fell at his feet and said, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." When Jesus saw her weeping and the Jews who had come along with her also weeping, he was deeply moved in spirit and troubled. "Where have you laid him?" he asked. "Come and see, Lord," they replied. And verse 35 says, Jesus wept. What a story. And of course, what ends up happening is that Jesus miraculously raises Lazarus from the dead. But what I want us to think about today is just a few things from this part of the story. See, first we see that Jesus grieves with us. Jesus wept with his friends even though he knew he would raise Lazarus from the dead. Still, Jesus was moved with emotion to the point of weeping. And this doesn't mean that he maybe shed a few tears or cried just a tasteful little bit. It means that he wept fully, which could have included maybe sobbing, maybe being short of breath and loud cries, that sort of thing. Jesus expressed full grief. And this story should bring us so much comfort when we experience grief because we can rest on the truth that Jesus grieves with us. He is right beside us in our grief and he carries that sorrow with us. I pray that this may bring us comfort today and will encourage us to rely on Jesus even through our grief.